Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to episode 94 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Good, I'm awake.
Yes, so should we give them the behind the scenes?
Yeah, like why there was no new episode this week?
Well,
because I fell asleep.
Yes, long story short, Steven fell asleep.
Not in the middle of the podcast.
No, not before we started.
Yeah, before we started. Well, you know, we have a time difference, so it's a little bit later for me, and I just didn't make it. I had like too many short nights that week, and then it's funny because I get to Thursday, it's the end of my week, so usually I get a little burst of energy for the podcast because, like, I know I have a 3-day weekend. I'm all excited.
It's your Friday, yeah.
But I think it was the fact that I had just a lot of long days, short nights, and I just didn't make it.
Well, that's okay.
But you know what?
We
just took a week off.
Yeah, unscheduled break.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming back with the topic for tonight of gluten-free and alcohol-free beers.
Yeah. Well,
you got to give this a clever title when you name it, because you got two frees in there. So.
Okay. Just free beer. So just put free beer. See?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Everybody loves free beer.
Yeah, that's a good title. Title it free beer.
Yeah, but I was inspired by a coworker who is very gluten sensitive, and she was like, "Hey, you guys, you know, as always, I'm trying to brainstorm at work, figure out what I'm going to talk about on the podcast." She's like, "Well, why don't you just talk about gluten-free beers?" Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
And it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
Yeah, we always do.
All right, well, before we
it helps when you know nothing. It's easy to learn a lot of stuff.
From zero. Well, we know some things now.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
I mean, I forget them all. Because we'll do like a deep dive on a style, and then I just forget everything about the style. So.
Yeah.
But then I can just go back and listen to our own episode, and I'm like, oh
exactly.
Yeah. All right, so our first segment, of course, is drinking beer. It's our favorite segment. The way it works is I introduce my beer, give nose notes. Steven does the same, and then we cheers and give tasting notes. So I'm drinking. I'm gonna make Steven say it because I can't say it.
Reve.
It's Parish Brewing. It's a collaboration with Reve. Coffee roasters. And this is their coffee stout.
That means dream in French, by the way.
Oh, cool. So this is technically considered a milk stout. And it's 6.8%. And it's from Parish Brewing out of Louisiana. So I guess they use coffee and vanilla beans.
Yummy.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about this beer because I picked it off Tavour. Oh my gosh. It smells... And people are like, it's kind of like drinking it's almost like just drinking fresh coffee, like a latte.
Yeah.
Like, you almost don't even think you're drinking beer, so...
Dang, this is a 97 on Beer Advocate.
Yeah, it's really highly rated, too, so... I was excited because unlike Steven, I actually love the flavor of coffee. But you like coffee
I do
in
like
beer.
it in beer. Yeah, it's very strange.
But I have a feeling this is going to taste like just drinking coffee. It smells like a fresh cup of coffee. Oh, wow. It has that smell like... You know when you walk into Starbucks?
Uh-huh.
That's what this smells like.
I do like that smell. I like the smell of coffee.
It's just like a powerful... I feel like I'm just like opening a bag of coffee beans and taking a deep breath. And there's a little bit of vanilla and almost like there's definitely like a creamy note. It's like tricking my brain. Like I think I smell coffee creamer, if that makes sense. Yeah, just insanely powerful coffee on the nose with a little bit of just this kind of a sweet smell, like a milky, creamy sweetness. All right, this is gonna be interesting.
Awesome, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, what do you have today, Steven?
Okay, so I think last episode talked about a new hop that had come out called Luminosa hops, created by a company called Indie Hops, who were the ones who created Strata hops, which you see a lot. So, and it was a descendant of the Sriracha Ace hops, was a descendant of that, where they got rid of some of the off flavors of that and made a hop that was actually a little bit more appropriate for like a juicy IPA. So, so that's what I have today. I have a double IPA called HyperFocus from Grimm Brewing in Brooklyn, New York, called HyperFocus Luminosa. HyperFocus is their double IPA, their single hop double IPA series. So this is they only use Luminosa hops in this beer. It's a single hop double IPA. Yeah. So they've done other ones where they've highlighted other hops, but I really wanted to try this one since the new hop in town. Maybe it'll be my new favorite hop. What's your favorite hop?
I doubt that. I don't have a favorite
hop,
but yours is Citra,
Citra,
right?
Yeah. So basic.
It's not basic. It's a classic.
Okay, so it's a really nice golden yellow pour. Not actually like super hazy, but a nice beer colored beer.
With kind of a good retaining head there.
Yeah, it's hanging around there. Good. Like, didn't you? I didn't have my camera screen on this screen, so I was like holding it off camera, thinking Jason could see it.
Yeah, I could see like the corner of it.
Oh, okay. So definitely some pineapple.
Oh, okay.
Orange for sure. Yeah, pineapple and orange, definitely the main notes coming off. Almost a little bit like a lemony smell, like a little bit of a pine sol kind of lemony cleaner smell coming off of there. And maybe just something tropical like a guava or something. But yeah, pineapple and orange for sure. Okay, I'm excited.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, this one lived up to the hype, I think.
Yeah?
It's kind of crazy. It tastes like, it's like dark malt, roasted coffee, and then I get like caramel, and then like almost like an espresso note, like that just super strong coffee bean flavor, and then creamy vanilla, chocolate, and then the aftertaste is like coffee, a little bit more of that espresso. But what's wild about the whole thing is like it's not really bitter at all, which is wild because like, you know, if you're just drinking like an espresso, there is like that bitterness element. But it's just completely absent. So this is really good. I would give it a thumbs up, but you have to really like coffee. I mean, they're kind of warning you. This is it's a coffee stout, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. It has a lot of the elements of like coffee drinking, but even like I feel like even more than one element. Like certain times it feels like you're drinking an espresso, and other times it just feels like you're drinking like a cup of coffee. I don't know. It's really good. It's weird, but thumbs up. I like it.
Dang. Yeah, I'm jealous or envious.
I think you would really like this one. Yeah, it's wild. Like, it tricks your brain. Like, that sometimes that very initial, like, the aftertaste, like, after you swallow, I kind of feel like I just took a big swig of coffee.
That's awesome.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it was interesting looking at some of the reviews on Beer Advocate, like, very much just overwhelming coffee, but also very, like, well-balanced, so...
Yeah, really nicely balanced and kind of complex. There's definitely, like, an entrance, a development, and then a finish. And it's creamy. It's nice. Yeah, it's a fun one for sure. I don't think I would... You have to be in the mood to drink it, I think. Like, you have to know what you're getting into. You have to be like, I want to taste coffee. Because that's what you're going to taste. But if you're in the mood for that, it's solid.
Nice. Okay. We'll win for Parish.
Yeah.
I have some Ghost in the Machine in my fridge that just came from Tavor, which I'm pretty excited about.
Nice.
It really is like the best indication that I love a beer if I buy it again.
That's true, because you are like a...
Because like I know that sounds like almost like, you know, like duh, yeah, of course, but I rarely like to buy anything.
Yeah, Steven wants to experience everything one time.
Yeah, and probably even more telling is that I bought 6 of the Bam Bam Rubble Fruity Pebbles Sour. I drank one of those today already. It's the best. It's the best. It's I'm glad so sour, 6. Like mouth-puckeringly sour.
Yeah.
But also just like these amazing Fruity Pebble flavors, and it's just so good. So
that's awesome.
Look for that picture coming up on Instagram. It's gonna be a good one.
Is it like a wild color?
It's not actually, and that's what I love about it is that it's just a sour beer. and it's like it's normal color. It's like a gold yellow. Like yeah, it's not weird colored. It's just the flavors are amazing. I love it.
Fair enough.
I will say too, when I was there on tap, they had a version, but it was the tangerine version.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like they just played up the orangey flavors of it, and that was pretty delicious too. So,
Okay.
and I think they made another version just recently too. But yeah, it's fantastic. And I bought 6 of them.
I should have bought one.
It's okay. It's more of a beer probably for me.
That's cereal.
Well, you like Fruity Pebbles. Do you like Fruity Pebbles?
I do love Fruity Pebbles, so
Yeah.
I feel like I would probably like it.
Yeah, you probably would. Okay, so my beer is, I don't know if I mentioned, but it's 8% ABV.
Okay.
It's very orangey in the taste. Kind of a medium-bodied, lightly carbonated IPA. It's got some sweetness to it, almost more like a honey, like kind of a honeyish, mango-ish sweetness to it. But almost all the flavor is dominated by this orange peel flavor that kind of evolves into like the end bitter note of orange peel.
Okay.
Tiny bit of booze there at the end, like you can taste it, but it's not bad. It's actually pretty well balanced in terms of when it shows up and where it shows up and how it complements the beer. So I like it. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's not blowing me away. It's just it's just an IPA. I don't know.
So this is not your new favorite hop?
Probably not my new favorite hop, but maybe in combination with other hops.
Yeah.
I do see the appeal, especially with the orange. You want to play that note up for sure.
That sounds cool.
Because it was both very present in the nose and in the flavor. So
interesting.
Yeah, Luminosa hops. That's my verdict. Very orange dominated.
So wait, are you giving the beer overall a thumbs up or?
I think I'll just do a
sideways.
Thumbs down. Yeah, thumbs down. I mean, it's fine. It's just, I have to thumbs down some beers, and this would be a beer I would, like, it's not blowing me away. I wouldn't buy it again.
I was going to say, so this is one you would definitely not
no.
You would not buy again.
But it's very clean. It's very easy to drink, and it was fun to kind of get to know this hop a little bit.
The new hop, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's my favorite beer right now because it's the one I'm drinking.
That's right. All right, so next we have postscripts where we fix mistakes from previous episodes. And beer news, which is self-explanatory, and story time with Steve, which is also self-explanatory. I don't think, did we have any postscripts?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, the problem is it was 2 weeks ago, so I don't
remember
what our topic was.
There's no hope anyway. It was home brewing laws. That was our last episode.
Yeah, I'm sure we didn't have any.
Oh, actually, honestly, it was kind of like appropriate timing because President Carter is like on hospice now.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're probably going to lose President Carter soon, but it was a good tribute to him for being
we have him
president
to thank.
that signed into, kudos for Congress at that time that passed the law, and then President Carter signed it into effect, but that he made homebrewing legal again in the United States. So shout out to him. So that was the postscript tribute to President, and it's February. It's President's Day.
Right. Oh, double.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
All the presidents. All right, beer news.
Okay, beer news. I have a beer news for us. So Drake's Brewing, that's based out of San Leandro, California, is going to acquire Cloverdale-based Bear Republic. So these are both kind of like pretty legendary breweries here in California. I've been to Bear Republic's brewery. They have they had a really nice, I think it was just a tap room in Healdsburg that was really fancy. It was cool. It was like right when I was first getting into craft beer, and I really liked their Racer 5 IPA. And they had a red beer. I think it's called like Red Rocket. It's like a red beer. That's also really good. So yeah, well, unfortunately Bear Republic hasn't been doing very well. They actually closed their tap room. I think they closed the tap room, and it was a brew pub they had in Healdsburg. They closed both of those just because they weren't doing great. And then Drake's, I think we read it, they're buying basically the rights to all the beers and the recipes, but they're not like going to take over their facilities or anything. They're just kind of going to take over their beer. So they're going to start brewing. So they'll definitely be brewing, like, for example, Racer 5, because I think that's their main. I think that's Bear Republic's main beer. It said in this article we're reading that 92% of their volume was Racer 5 IPA.
That is crazy.
Yeah, you know how,
I
like,
mean, I can't think of a different beer from them.
Yeah, there's one called like Red Rocket or something like that. Here we go. We'll postscript it for next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they talk about a beer that like keeps the lights on. That's the one that keeps the lights on for them, and it's highly rated. It's like 93 on Beer Advocate. So
honestly, that's kind of genius by Drake's. Like,
because they're just buying a really established beer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like Bear Republic's dying out. They're closing all their stuff, right? Why not just buy the recipe and keep brewing a beer that like obviously sells well and just add it to your lineup? I think it's pretty smart, and you're not taking on any of the risk of like extra brew space, or you don't need that. You could actually probably make Racer 5 a little bit more limited, and like you don't need more brewing capacity, you don't need more space or real estate or something, but you might as well keep brewing a beer that people recognize. So
and in this article they said they're even keeping Bear Republic's brewmaster on staff.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
like,
Look at that.
They're gonna keep the master brewer so I'm sure they'll keep that should help keep the formula consistent as it comes over. So yeah, kind of interesting. So I haven't been to Drake's for a while, but next time I do a trip, that if I do ever head out to Drake's or even see it in the store, it'll be kind of funny to see. Because those are like two breweries
Drake's
from
Racer 5.
Yeah, like to see Drake's name on Racer 5 is kind of strange, but yeah, we've been seeing a lot of this happen, so a lot of mergers and buyouts and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think wasn't it when we did the Rubicon Brewing deep dive? I think they brewed Racer 5 for a while for Bear Republic in their space.
Gotcha. They were a little bit of a, what did they call that? Gypsy brewery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely old school for sure. If you're in the era of Rubicon Brewing, that's early on. So
yeah, early days. I'm trying to see. I know it says here Drake's was founded in 1989, which is kind of crazy. That's like early days of craft beer.
Yeah, anything in the 80s, man.
Yeah, and then I don't see when Beer Republic came along, but they've also been around for a while.
1995?
Oh, okay. It's a little bit later, but still been around. It's almost 30 years, so.
There's no way that's been 30 years.
Yeah, Stephen, in 2025.
How is that possible?
1995. Am I doing my math right? Yeah, it's scary.
It doesn't make any sense because I'm not any older. So
you are older.
I was listening to a great stand-up the other day where the guy was like, I'm 42. Like, he's like, but I still feel young. Like, I can hang out with a 22-year-old and I can hang with them, But then like somebody who's like 45 comes into the room like, I'm 45. And like, get out of here, old guy.
Oh my gosh, he's only 3 years older than you. It's actually funny because I just turned 40 and I'm like, I started to get tired all the time, and I'm like, is this what happens? And I told my wife, I was like, if you had an elixir that when you drank it, you just were magically like 10 years younger, I was like, what would that feel like? Because the problem is you get old like so gradually.
Yeah.
You don't feel any different, but I'm sure if I could just magically be 30 again or like 20 again, would I just feel like pulsing with life?
Yeah, I think like you said, a big step you would notice for sure because it is so gradual. Because I don't feel old, but then like you have a night of drinking or something, you're like, yep, I'm old.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, that's okay. We just have to be smarter now and take our liver supplements.
Yeah, we need our liver supplements.
Oh man. Okay.
Right, well, that's our beer news. Do we have a story time with Steve?
Oh, I was gonna add a beer news.
Okay.
Just a new hop product. It's called Sub-Zero Hop Keef, and I think it's very similar, I think, to like cryo hops. Basically, just using low temperatures to like separate the hop oils from the vegetal parts of the hops, and isolate the hop oils and use those in brewing beer. So basically, you can just be more efficient with the oils without having the waste product of the vegetal material. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So basically just right along that same line. Right now they only have Motueka hops, and then they're supposed to be coming out with more hop varietals in this Sub-Zero hop keef towards the end of this month or next month. So again, it's one of those things, we talked about this, like you may see that advertised on the beer as being used, or you may not, because at this point a lot of these hop products are just being used behind the scenes without you knowing.
They just quietly use them.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, a lot of them are marketed for as products to make your brewery more efficient.
Okay.
They're not necessarily saying like, oh, your beer's gonna taste this much better. It's gonna be that. Like I think they really are mainly marketed as to breweries as, hey, this is gonna make your brew process more streamlined, more efficient, less waste, kind of thing. So. But there are like Anchorage Brewing. They love to put everything they use on their cans.
They use it
cosmic
a little bit
punchies and all this stuff. So it just depends on what your goal is and if you think it's gonna sell your beer if you put those on. But like I said, I think a lot of it's just happening in the background without us even knowing. So
gotcha. 2 different strategies, kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. Story time with Steve.
Yeah, it's my turn to be envious.
Well, I did something a little crazy this week. So I was scrolling Instagram, and over the last few days, I had seen posts from Firestone Walker about their invitational beer fest in June. And then I was like kind of on the fence. Hey, maybe I should try to go to this. Mm-hmm. It's the same weekend as my wife's birthday, so I thought maybe like we'll just get away to California, and it would just be part of that trip. So I started to think maybe I would do this, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I just happened to be scrolling Instagram again on Friday, last Friday, right at the time that tickets were about to go on sale. They were like about to drop on the app, like, I don't know, 5 minutes from when I was looking. And I was like, oh crap. Well, okay, I guess I'm doing it. And they do sell out very, very fast.
Yeah, I bet.
Historically, it's been just a few minutes before they sell out. So I was like, well, I'll just get on. I'll try. And who knows? Maybe I won't even get through the checkout process. And I won't get tickets, whatever. I'll just try. And then otherwise, if I get them, then I'll start planning a vacation. So I got on and I jumped on right at the time, and it worked. I got tickets. Apparently, there were people who did get, like, they weren't able to get through the checkout process.
It's so wild.
Yeah, and pretty soon, it was pretty fast. So
you got lucky.
Yeah, I was lucky to see it when I did, and just got all my stuff entered and got the app all pulled up and everything, and it worked out.
That's exciting, dude.
It is an expensive beer festival.
Oh, is it? Is it more than like Great American Beer Festival? Or?
Yeah, so it's one day. It's noon to 5. And it's like $125.
Oh, dang.
But I will say, well, first off, the brewery list is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like the best of the best. So.
Yeah, like Trillium is there, and Side Project, and yeah, it's stupid. Also, there is food, and there is like samples, like chefs making. So there's like samples of food. It's kind of like that when we did the paired event.
Yeah, that'll be nice because that'll help a lot with just the overall experience.
Yeah,
and not like getting too tipsy too fast.
Yeah, so I'm very, very excited. It's actually, so the general admission ticket is $125, I think. And then the VIP ticket, which gets you in an hour early, so then it's 11 to 5, is $250.
Jeez.
So it's like basically a double the price to get an extra hour in.
That is no joke.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to do that.
No. If you think about like, well, that's, I mean, it's over double the price for 1 hour. Does it get you any other benefits?
I mean, I think there was a list of stuff. Mainly it was just like, I don't know, the swag you get or the swag.
That doesn't seem worth it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there are definitely some big time nerds who are probably worried that the side project stuff is going to kick or something. Yeah. But I'm sure that they're fairly smart about it, and they're not going to like let something kick. But there might be something. I mean, I'm sure there's something special that's going to be poured in that first hour or whatever. But
sure.
But
I think there'll be plenty of good beer to drink.
Not worth double the ticket price for an extra hour. So
Yeah, that's wild. I thought you were gonna say like 160 or something, but
so I'll just get there at noon with the poor people.
Relatively, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited for you. So you'll have to scout that out, and then I'll go with you next year if it was really good and worth it.
Yeah, I'm, well, they don't have any sort of, like, brewery list yet.
Okay.
But looking at the ones
Can you see, like, last year's, or?
Yeah, I can see last year's, and, like, of course, like, WeldWorks is there, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, the breweries that don't go to other stuff, like, they don't go to Beer Fest almost ever, but they go to, they come
Is
with
Treehouse going to be there?
I don't think... Treehouse is on the list, but
we're never gonna see. The only way we're ever gonna get Treehouse is by going to stupid Treehouse. Yeah.
Yeah. My coworker, my Boston hookup, he's going in a couple weeks to Treehouse.
Oh, is he gonna bring you a beer back?
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
He'll bring me something back.
Now that I've had Heady Topper, I'm like, I want now like my top white whale is Treehouse now because it used to be Heady Topper, but I got that one so. But Treehouse is just as elusive because like they don't go anywhere. They're not on Tavor. Like yeah.
I saw Heady Topper on halftime beverage. I think I've ordered from them before, but it was like apparently I didn't realize like halftime beverage. They're like an online store, but I think they have some sort of physical store somewhere, and it said Heady Topper was available, but only
in store.
Yeah, I was very sad about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have just made an order of only Heady Topper.
Dude, it'd be worth it. It's so good.
So, that's okay. One day, I will drink that beer.
Well, next time they have it at the local place, I forgot, Pacific Market or whatever, I'll just buy like 5 4-packs of it and mail you one.
Mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we know how to mail beer now?
Yeah, we looked into it. You can technically do it like...
I'll just say it's your home brew.
Yeah, I'll say it's my home brew, and I can ship it through like UPS or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll spray paint the cans. I'll just like black out the cans with black spray paint, and then you can like... I'll send you like 8, and then you can just give it to people and be like, hey, just drink this. Don't tell them what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'll write with like
my homebrew.
Yeah, I'll write with like a white marker. It'll be like Jason's beer shop or a homebrew. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the breweries from the last year's lineup, and Monkish is a huge one. People are cultish about Monkish.
Okay.
The brewery will be there.
Mm-hmm.
The Lost Abbey will be there. So those are sort of like the big SoCal ones that come in. But yeah, let's see. Great Notion, Other Half comes. Nice. Side Project, WeldWorks, Trillium, Russian River. Yeah, there's just Humble Sea. There's just some really, really cool. Crooked Stave is there. Cigar City was there last year. I wonder if they'll come again.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, Boneyard.
You got to see if they have. What
was it? Notorious IPA was the one we wanted to try. KC Brewing and Blending, I think, is there's a big cult following. Oh, Bale Breaker was there last year. So, Three Floyds was there last year.
Ooh, you got to get Zombie Dust.
I just saw they released Zombie Ice. It was a double IPA version.
Ooh, like that.
Yeah. Anyway, just very, very excited about the Firestone Walker Invitation. I'll give you more updates when we get closer and they actually put out a brewery list.
Okay. All right, should we get to our main topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, gluten-free beer.
Yeah.
What does that even mean, Steven?
Well, in the world of gluten, of course, there's kind of a spectrum of people's tolerance for gluten.
Mm-hmm.
There is, of course, an official diagnosis of celiac disease, which is a severe intolerance to gluten.
Okay.
But in general, it's been linked to even people who aren't technically diagnosed as celiac. They can still be sort of sensitive to it and have a lot of GI upset when they eat gluten. So it's been kind of a trend, at least, to label things gluten-free when they're gluten-free, so that people are educated about what they're eating.
Mm-hmm.
So the official FDA definition of something being gluten-free is that it has less than 20 parts per million of gluten in it. So there's been a kind of a push a little bit in the beer brewing world to brew gluten-free beer. The problem being is that most beers use a malt bill of either wheat or barley or rye, which all contain gluten. So the only option for a long time was to brew a beer with other gluten-free malts. So these are like buckwheat and corn and sorghum and rice. You can use Belgian candy sugar as an adjunct as well. And if you brew with only those malts, you will have a naturally gluten-free beer.
Because there's no gluten in the underlying.
Yeah. So there's really
the cereals you're using, or I guess what would you call it?
Yeah, the cereal grains.
Yeah, that you're using. None of them have gluten, so the resulting product doesn't have gluten.
Yeah, and that's really the only way to make an actually gluten-free beer. Yeah. And going even a step beyond that, you can't even, if your facility brews that beer, but they also brew other beers with gluten in them, like there is always a possibility that there's a little bit of cross-contamination.
Right.
Depending on, what equipment they're using or that kind of stuff. So even then, unless the brewery only brews beers with gluten-free grains, there's always a possibility of contamination and a little bit of gluten being in your beer. But for the most part, I think it's going to be pretty low. You have to have very, very, very sensitive, and some people are, but yeah, you have to be very, very, very sensitive to be intolerant to beer brewed just in the same facility, that kind of thing.
So it kind of reminds me of when you see things that said like this product was made in a facility that also processes peanuts, because like some people have like a very dangerous allergic reaction to peanuts. So
yeah, and they're so sensitive that even if it's brewed in the same air,
yeah, you just don't want to risk like the cross contamination. So
exactly. So what's interesting is that there was a product being used called Brewer's Clarex, and this product was actually not designed for the purpose of making gluten-free beer. It was actually designed as a lean brewing solution. So
okay.
So one of the steps towards clarifying a beer and clarifying the haze from beer is to do like a deep cooling step. It's so funny because this reminds me of what is that brewery that skipped all the steps?
Yeah, the one that cut all the corners.
Schlitz.
Is it yeah,
Schlitz. So it reminds me of Schlitz Brewing. So they didn't want to lager the beer as long as they as long as they needed to. So they were using products to try and take the haze out, but that was ruining the beer. Well, this Brewer's Clarex is kind of in the same vein where you shorten your brew time because you can skip this deep cooling step, and it reduces the haze without the need for the cooling step. So. Okay. So anyway, this is like the new wave of actually a product that actually works and that doesn't affect the taste of the beer at all. But one of the other side benefits of this Brewer's Clarex is that it takes the gluten out. I mean, I think that's probably how it's working, is that it's taking some of those proteins.
I see. This is
out of the beer. Yeah. And so if they use this product, you actually get gluten-free beer, and they can get their gluten numbers less than the 20 parts per million requirement, and then they can label their beer gluten-free if they want.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so anyway, it's interesting that the way to brew gluten-free beer actually came out of this other purpose.
It's like every prescription drug that's ever been invented. Right. They always like try to make it do one thing, and then they have some weird side effect, and they're like, oh no, wait, it does that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Viagra was notoriously a blood pressure medication.
Yes, and then people kept reporting a side effect, and they're like, wait a minute, we can sell that.
Oh yeah, that was probably one of the best side effects ever.
They're like, wait, it's doing what?
Yeah. So crazy. Anything else you want to say on that?
Yeah, not really. I was reading an article about gluten-free, and it kind of lined up with, they kind of gave like ratings. It's very similar to what you're describing, like where something that's true gluten-free would be at a dedicated facility. So like the facility, it's like if it's a gluten-free brewery, which there are some. We found a long list of, so there are breweries that are like, no, we only make gluten-free beer. then you're in a good spot because there's no like cross contamination. It's like that would be the facility that does not process nuts.
Yeah.
So that's like the top level. And then there's gluten-free, so it's like a beer that's made with no gluten ingredients, but they might make it like, we're going to talk about a couple examples, like from, like Lagunitas makes one. So they make most of their beers have gluten, but then they make one beer that's gluten-free. So if you were like really sensitive, there's a possibility, I guess, of cross-contamination, but it's probably really low. And then gluten-reduced is what they called, kind of what you described. It's like they brewed it with gluten, but then they used some process, an enzyme to remove the gluten. And they said, there's the possibility of there could be trace elements left. So again, it like depends on your sensitivity. Like if you're full-blown celiacs, be careful. But if you're just like gluten sensitive, then you could probably drink that and it'd be no problem.
Yeah, and I think people learn too that like what they can tolerate, and obviously if you were just like ridiculously sensitive, probably should just stay away from beer in general.
Yeah. Yeah, you might. Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it is cool that there are new options.
Some alternatives. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of those. But yeah, what I think is interesting is that there are a lot of breweries, and I think this is probably more common than we know, because I'm aware that Blue Note Brewing, which is in your town, makes all their beers gluten reduced.
Okay.
Like they use the brewer's Clarex on all their beers and reduce the gluten. So if I remember right, they don't really advertise that at all.
I've never noticed that they talk about that. So yeah.
So if you are sensitive, it's probably worth just asking especially your local brewery or someplace that, your friends go to and hang out a lot. Just ask them if they make their beer gluten-free, because honestly, they might be like, oh yeah, we use Brewer's Clarex to, streamline our brew process, but it also makes the beer gluten-free. So yeah, you should be okay. And they probably just don't even, they're not marketing it, they're not advertising it at all. So it's worth asking.
Totally. Yeah, because I would have had no idea. But again, I'm not gluten sensitive, so it's just not something I would think about.
Apparently, Stone Brewing's Delicious IPA is one of those well-known beers that is actually gluten-reduced and is not labeled that way.
Yeah, like they don't advertise it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. There is a brand called Omission beer, and I think that's one that's like,
I think they're dedicated gluten-free. Yeah.
At least they definitely use it in their advertising.
And then I found Anheuser-Busch, so Budweiser, they have a beer called Red Bridge that's gluten-free. It's made of sorghum, so there's no wheat or barley used.
Okay, cool.
Which is kind of interesting because that's it's nationwide available, and apparently, it has a decent review. So there you go. You can drink we can be drinking Anheuser-Busch beer, but no one will know because it looks like a craft beer.
Yeah.
Because it has like a cool name, has a cool label, and people will be like, "What are you drinking?" You're like Red Bridge. There you go.
And they'd be like, what is that? Fancy
okay, so Omission also makes alcohol-free beers.
Okay.
That's actually, I think my wires got crossed. They reduce gluten, but then a lot of the stuff they make, they don't put is alcohol-free too. So they're kind of the non-alcoholic brew contains less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. But yeah, we had a couple other examples, like New Belgium. They have one called Gluttony, kind of like gluttony, but gluttony. And that's a pale ale where they removed the gluten. So a lot of the big breweries, like, New Belgium, like a lot of them have at least one gluten-free or gluten-reduced beer in their lineup, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then do you want to talk about other things you can drink that are alcoholic that are not gluten?
Yeah. And I will say, too, that in at least a few of the breweries that I go to, a lot of them have a few other options on tap. Mm-hmm. So they'll have a mead or a cider or even wine. So those are kind of your top three choices in terms of a fermented drink. Cider, of course, being fermented apple juice. Mm-hmm. Mead being fermented honey and water, I think is what we just said, right?
Yeah, honey, water, and yeast.
And then wine, of course, being grapes. So anytime you got sugar and yeast in something, but if it's not barley based or wheat based, then it's going to be gluten free.
Yeah.
So that's going to be your a great gluten free option. And like I said, it's showing up a lot in tap rooms where either they make something or they have a guest tap of a mead or a cider. And it really is just sort of a great one. It's a good alternative to beer if you don't like beer.
Yeah.
Like I before I drank beer, I drank only cider.
You were so into ciders.
I loved ciders. Yep.
I remember those days.
Yep. I even went to Ace Cider's tap room and tried a bunch of their stuff. Yep. I loved ciders. And I drank wines too occasionally. So it was just for me, it was a good gateway. And I think even if it's not necessarily a gateway towards beer, it's just a good beer alternative, especially for someone who likes things that are a little sweeter. Ciders tend to fit that bill pretty well. So.
Well, and then mead is pretty popular, I think, because we actually have, like, local to us, we have just a meadery. So they just make mead. So they have a bunch of different kinds, and they're really popular. Like, I'm just looking right now. They have 4.8 out of 5-star reviews on Google.
Yeah.
And they have they have a cherry mead. They just have, like, different flavors. So it's pretty cool. I've actually had a couple of their meads. Like, friends, like, bought a bottle to, like, a party or whatever. And it was really good. But it'd be fun to go there because, like, it's kind of just like a brewery. Like, they have them on tap and you can sit at the bar and it's pretty fun. So that's a really good option. So definitely, like, look if you try to see if you have a meadery around you.
Yeah, we have, like I said, I've been to Ace Cider in Sebastopol, California. Here we have one, it's Bishop's Cider, I think. Anyway, they have a tap room. So yeah, I mean, you can have basically the full brewery experience, but with ciders or meads. So I think we do have a meadery somewhere around here too.
Yeah,
you know, they're showing a lot on Tabor too.
I know. I've been noticing meads are popping up, so they might be gaining in popularity. They're really fun. You get kind of like a different palette of flavors. So
I know my brother is actually really into meads. He I think he's a little bit like gluten sensitive.
Gotcha.
So he prefers to drink.
Good option.
He drinks beers, but yeah, he prefers to drink meads when he can. So well, there you go.
Yeah. Did you want to talk a little bit about our other free topic?
Yeah, alcohol free.
Alcohol.
Not quite as fun, but
yeah, at least gluten-free beer still has alcohol in it.
Yeah, I guess we do need to try some more of these. I think
the gluten-free or the alcohol-free?
No, the alcohol-free. My experiences so far have been.
I've had a couple lately. I can tell you about.
I had the Heineken 0.0.
Yeah.
Which again was just, to me, tasted like beer flavored sparkling water.
Okay.
Like lightly beer flavored sparkling water. I tried the other one, the Bud Light Next. Is that alcohol free or?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. Just felt like sparkling water with like a touch of beer flavor.
Well, that's so funny that you said that because I had they get really good reviews online. Athletic Brewing.
Okay.
But my wife is pregnant and she loves beer, so we bought her some Athletic Brewings because she got really excited because they had a sour.
Okay.
But we had the exact same experience. Like,
no.
It literally just tastes like it's like sparkling water but beer flavored.
Yeah.
So like when you take a sip, like on entrance, you're like, oh, this tastes like a sour. But then the development and the aftertaste is just empty. Like it just becomes sparkling water. So it's fine. I think if you pour it in a glass and you just kind of drink it without paying attention, like you obviously can't sit down like what we do and just really dial in.
Yeah.
Because then you'll like kind of see through it.
Like there's an entrance, but there's nothing else.
But if you're at a party and you're just chatting with your friends and you're just sipping on one out of a can, I think it's convincing enough that you just like, your brain is just like, okay, yeah, we're drinking a beer. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah.
It doesn't hold up to scrutiny, but I think it's obviously not going to be able to hold up to like a magnifying glass, but I think if you just drink one, you won't really notice, if that makes sense. Because I've definitely been guilty of drinking like really good beer in a social setting and like not really paying attention to it. And then you just kind of drink a really good beer and you're like, oh. Then I'm always like, oh, I kind of wasted that. Like, yeah. So.
Did you drink the whole thing? Then it wasn't wasted.
I know, but I feel like I didn't experience myself drinking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, so yeah, it sounds like our experience has been the same all across the board. For whatever reason, they kind of just taste like sparkling water.
Well, it does make me laugh that they always market them as like full flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I guess you just can say that.
Well, yeah, it's like,
try to trick us into believing it.
What does that mean? It means nothing.
Yeah. So, we tried one or two at the beer festival, I think, too, because they had.
We did.
And I think they had a Goza actually too that I was like, oh, okay, yeah. It was just, yeah. Again,
Yeah,
I think you're right. It's
reason.
like the first sip, like as soon as it hits your lips, you're like, okay, and then it's just like nothing after that. I don't know. I'd rather drink a Coke Zero if I'm drinking something non-alcoholic.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll try more. I mean, we should try like the one I've been meaning to try is Lagunitas. They make IPNA, so it's like IPA and no alcohol.
Non-alcoholic.
It's a cute name. But again, I don't really have high hopes for this. Maybe it's gonna get like better in the future, but I don't know.
Well, it's funny too because some breweries actually sell hop water, which is hop flavored sparkling water. I think it's disgusting.
I don't want that.
But it's basically non-alcoholic.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
It's like they're marketed coming from two directions, right? Like non-alcoholic beer,
right.
hopped sparkling water, basically.
And they're like meeting in the middle.
Yeah, they're basically the same thing.
That's pretty funny.
They like occupy the same sort of space.
It's a Venn diagram, but it's just a circle.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. I guess there's not a lot to say about alcohol-free beer, unfortunately. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday the advances in technology will...
Yeah, maybe it'll get better. I mean, if I tried a good one, I would give it... I would say it's good, but I just really haven't tried one that impressed me in any way.
Mm-mm.
So, kind of a bummer.
Yeah, they have a hard time. Well, I mean, think about it. Like, remember Schlitz Brewing? They're making terrible beer by reducing using products to reduce the haze, and now they have products that will do it and don't affect the flavor of the beer at all. So maybe eventually they'll be able to get the alcohol out without absolutely killing the flavor of the beer.
Yeah, they'll probably get there. Also, I think it's like probably you're targeting like a subset of a market, so it's probably like there's just less people trying to do it. So
yeah, I mean, I think the low ABV beers is kind of the sweet spot right now.
Yeah,
people want they want beers that do taste good, have some alcohol in them. They just want reduced calories.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The non-alcoholic, I think, is a stretch to say that there's a huge demand for that. I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So I know once my wife can drink beer again, she's not gonna drink alcohol-free beer. I actually have a couple beers in the fridge for her.
Oh yeah, we're on baby watch right now.
We are, and we're very close.
So that's why Jason's picking low ABV beers right now.
Yeah, I might have to drive to the hospital in a second.
He cannot be intoxicated right now.
We're not.
I can though.
Yeah, you can. You're no babies on the way for you.
Let me chug the rest
It's you're not on baby watch and it's your Friday, so you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, maybe I should drink a second beer.
Yeah, you should drink one in honor of me. All right. Well, is that an episode?
Oh, also, I want to mention Jason texted me pictures of his beer fridge, and it is absolutely insane how many huge, awesome barrel-aged stouts he has in his fridge, and he can't touch them right now.
I can't drink one right now.
But that's good. They can sell her.
Yeah, they can. They're gonna wait. I'm gonna need them when the baby's here. Also, I was trying to just tempt you to come visit, because then we can just drink all those together.
Yeah.
Just see Steven. Just take a beer trip vacation, but just come to my house.
Sounds good to me.
We won't go anywhere. We'll just drink my beer fridge.
Yeah. It'll be like a beer festival in Jason's house.
Yeah, just a beer festival for 2.
Can we get some volunteers to pour, people with booths?
We'll have
We'll walk around with our little 1-ounce taster.
That'd be amazing. Actually, I should do that. Maybe that would be kind of fun. I should do a mini. I have so much good stuff. I should just invite
get all your friends. Over. I think they call that a bottle share.
But I'll do a bottle share, but I provide.
But you're providing all the.
Yeah. That'd actually be a blast.
Jason's bottle share, yeah, that would be awesome.
Let's coordinate it. All right, well, let's see. We're Attenuation Podcast. You can find us at attenuation.podcast on Instagram, where you can see mostly Steven posting all the interesting beer he drinks, but sometimes me. 1 in 50 posts me. Or you can email us at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. Ian,
Well, we know you're not drinking any interesting beers right now.
No, it's gonna be a while. I post some pictures of like
IPNA.
Yeah, IPNA. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna be an expert in non-alcoholic beers over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this has been episode 94 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Stephen.
That's me.
And we are saying cheers, and we'll see you maybe next week if I don't have a
We'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little, it's up in the air.
A small hiatus.
Okay? Yeah. Will there be an episode? Will there not be an episode? It's a mystery.
It is a mystery.
So that's how we tease you.
Yes. Because if we're recording next week, we're going to be very close.
Yeah, very close.
All right, cheers, buddy.
All right, cheers.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!